Together, we'll be embarking on the journey of my first ever Hardcore Nuzlocke in Pokémon SoulSilver. I'm your host and friend, the TRC. As with every Nuzlocke, together we're going to experience the highs and lows, joys and sorrow that only a Pokémon game can provide. For those that are unfamiliar with a Hardcore Nuzlocke, here's the main self-imposed rules we'll be playing with. If a Pokémon faints, it may not be revived and must be released at the soonest possible time. We can only catch the first Pokémon we encounter in a route or area. A Pokémon must be at or under the level of the highest Pokémon of the gym leader or the champions. The item menu may not be accessed in battle. The set battle mode must be used at all times. You can find the rest of the rules in the description below. We start our journey by heading to Professor Elm's lab, after we receive word he needs someone to help him with a small job. Before we enter, we notice someone to the side of the building who gives us a swift kick in the pants when we approach, so we get out of there as fast as we can. Professor Elm explains he needs someone to collect an odd egg from Mr. Pokémon on the other side of Cherry Grove City. He even gives us our first ever Pokémon to protect us on the journey. As much as I want to choose Totodile for the thickness that is for Alligator, we decide on a Cyndaquil that we name Torch. I'm banking on the fact that Smokescreen will be super helpful throughout the run. On the way out of town, we exchange numbers with Professor Elm, just in case we run into any trouble on the way to see Mr. Pokémon. We then save an old man from a cursed pair of shoes, and invoke the Law of Surprise. He then meets us on the edge of town with a map of the region, with all the Pokémon gyms circled. As we pass by, an old man leaves his house to yell at us for not admiring it, so we steal from his garden and run away. We eventually make it to Mr. Pokémon's house, where he entrusts us with an egg to deliver back to Professor Elm. Weirdly enough, there's another man at the table who never bothers to introduce himself. Once we step outside, we get a frantic phone call from Professor Elm. He explains there's been a disaster at the laboratory, and we're needed back right away. On the way back, we encounter the strange kid we saw behind Professor Elm's laboratory, and he challenges us to a Pokémon battle. With the extra levels we've picked up on Torch, we easily dispatch his suspiciously familiar Totodile. Luckily, after the battle, we find his trainer card in the dirt and can properly identify him. This was our first ever Pokémon battle, and we loved it. When we return to the lab, we were informed there has been a break-in by the same kid who challenged us to a Pokémon battle. The authorities ask us for his details, and unlike my 8-year-old self, we don't name him ? But name our rival Like, because this is my first video, and it would be stellar if you'd consider leaving a like if you're enjoying the content. We then inform Professor Elm we've decided to pursue becoming a professional Pokémon trainer, then set out to collect all 8 badges and challenge the Pokémon League. Lyra then presents us with some Pokeballs, and our Hardcore Nuzlocke of SoulSilver can officially begin. On Route 29 we catch a Pidgey named Wings, a Rattata named Toothers on Route 46, and a Weedle named Weedle on Route 30. We then defeat all the trainers between here and Violet City, catching a Bellsprout on Route 31 and naming it Sprout. And with that, we've nearly assembled a full team. Rumour is, budding Pokemon trainers can attempt to defeat Elder Lee at the top of the Sprout Tower, to prove they're ready for the gym challenge, allowing them to challenge Faulkner at the Violet City gym. We battle our way through Sprout Tower, encountering a Ghastly which we catch and name Smokey. When we reach the top of the tower, we encounter our rival, who has been given a stern lecture that treating Pokemon lovingly will get him further than using raw strength. Our rival then quickly hoolers his way out of the tower, and we challenge Elder Lee for the right to begin our gym challenge. We manage to easily knock out his Bellsprout with a few gusts from Wings, but then Elder Lee sends out his ace Pokemon, Hoot. We begin to use Sand Attack, lowering its accuracy to render Hypnosis a non-threat. After 2 Sand Attacks, Hoot still manages to land the Hypnosis, and we're forced to switch into Torch. Torch uses 2 more Smokescreens to further ensure Hypnosis won't be an issue. With a few Embers, Torch manages to get the knockout on Hoot. Another Ember then knocks out Elder Lee's last remaining Bellsprout, earning us the right to challenge Faulkner at the Violet City gym. With that said, this is a Hardcore Nuzlocke, and Faulkner's level 13 Pidgeotto is a real threat. We don't have anything on our team that will be able to match its raw strength, so we'll need a strategy. We head off to grind up our team to the cap and come up with a plan. We enter the Violet City gym, ready to challenge Faulkner for the Zephyr badge. We lead with Toothers, and use Focus Energy for the extra critical hit chance, and Faulkner's Pidgey uses Sand Attack, lowering our accuracy. We then respond with Quick Attack, and Pidgey attacked with Tackle. One more Quick Attack from Toothers, and we've knocked out Faulkner's first Pokemon. Now the real threat comes out, the level 13 Pidgeotto. Faulkner and his Game Sharks, man. Toothers hits with a Quick Attack. We cross our fingers for the critical hit from Focus Energy, but no luck, and we do less than a quarter damage. Pidgeotto then responds with a Tackle, leaving us just above half. We use another Quick Attack, again hoping for that critical, but we're not that lucky, and Pidgeotto uses Roost, undoing all the damage we've done so far. Toothers then misses its Quick Attack. the sand attack from the previous battle paying off, and Pidgeotto hits us with a tackle to 9 hit points, just in range of a knockout on the next hit. We have to switch. Seeing Pidgeotto use tackle, we swap into Smokey, assuming the tackle will pass right through him, getting a free switch in. But Falkner isn't a gym leader for no reason. He predicts the switch in, instructing Pidgeotto to use Gust instead. Now our plan goes into action. Smokey outspeeds the Pidgeotto and manages to connect with Hypnosis. That was lucky. Smokey then sacrifices half his hit points to lay a curse on Pidgeotto. With the curse, Pidgeotto won't be able to last long, even with Roost. So we switch into Torch for the final round. Pidgeotto stays asleep, and Torch strikes with Nemba, doing just enough damage for the curse to finish the already injured Pidgeotto. That went perfectly. With our first badge in hand, we head to the Pokemart to pick up supplies for the journey to our next destination, Azalea Town, where we're met by a strange woman. She tells us the end of the world is coming, but that we seem special. Weird. We continue our journey towards Azalea Town on Route 32 and encounter a new friend, Wooper, and name him Smiley. Can you hear that? It sounds like Jasmine sobbing in Olivine City. We then manage to easily defeat all the trainers between Violet City and Union Cave, evolving Torch into a Quilava. In Union Cave, we encounter a Geodude and name him Rocker. With a combination effort from Sprout and Smiley, we easily demolish all the trainers on our path to Azalea Town. Outside Union Cave, we encounter an Ekans, which was one of my favourite Pokemon growing up, and name him Viper after my favourite Age of Empires player. On our way into Azalea Town, we witness an altercation between an old man and someone who claims to be part of Team Rocket. He physically assaults the old man, who then runs away, hopefully to alert the authorities. Hearing that Azalea Town is too small to have its own authorities, we visit the man named Kurt, who insists on taking the fight directly to Team Rocket to defend the helpless Slowpoke they're poaching. Worried for his safety, we quickly head to the Slowpoke well to help. Upon arriving, Kurt did his best to thwart Team Rocket by breaking his own back at them. Sadly, this didn't help the situation, and we forge ahead by ourselves to defend the innocent Slowpoke. Here we encounter Proton, who calls himself a top member of Team Rocket. Wings easily manages to get the first knockout on Zubat with Gust. Proton then sends out his Coughing, and Wings does his best, but Coughing manages to poison Wings with Smog. Scared for Wings' safety, we recall him and send out Torch to finish Coughing with an Ember, earning us the victory and forcing Team Rocket out of the Slowpoke well and Azalea Town. We then meet Kurt at his house, and he thanks us for helping to defend the innocent Slowpoke. With Team Rocket defeated, it's time to challenge Bugsy at the Azalea Town gym, the reason we came here. We train most of the team up to level 17 to match Bugsy's ace, and decide on a strategy similar to the one we used on Falkner, but have the super effective moves from Torch as a backup. Bugsy leads with his ace Scyther, which makes executing our strategy easier than it was with Falkner. We send out Smokey to attempt the Hypnosis and Curse combination we used last time. Scyther uses Focus Energy, increasing her chances to score a critical hit, which would be devastating to any of our team members. Smokey manages to land the Hypnosis, putting the enemy Scyther to sleep, then halves her own hit points to place a Curse on Scyther. With Smokey on low health due to the curse, we swap into Torch and Scyther recovers with a held Citrus Berry, undoing a lot of our hard work. Scyther then wakes up, but luckily only goes for Leer. A Technician boosted Quick Attack with extra critical hit chance thanks to Focus Energy would have been dangerous for Torch. Seeing the opportunity, Torch uses Ember to get Scyther below half, then the curse from Smokey kicks in, bringing Scyther to the red. We keep Torch in as we know Bugsy is about to use a Super Potion, again undoing all our hard work. However, an Ember from Torch brings Scyther to just above half, and the curse brings Scyther into knockout range. We consider our next move carefully. With the defense drop from Scyther's Leer, we decide it's too risky for Torch to stay in, and send out Wings. Scyther hits Wings with a Quick Attack to just above half, and the curse brings Scyther back into the red. Though a critical hit could knock out Wings, we have to take the risk, because no one on our team can easily tank the Quick Attack from Scyther. Scyther hits Wings with the Quick Attack, but thankfully it doesn't land a critical. Wings then responds with his own Quick Attack, finally knocking out Bugsy's Scyther. After the hard-fought battle, we withdraw the injured Wings, and send Torch back into battle. Bugsy's Metapod and Kakuna are no real match for Torch, and a couple of Embers easily win us the Hive badge. The battle went pretty much to plan, and I can feel the overconfidence creeping in. Hopefully we can shake that as the next gym leader, Whitney, has demolished more than her fair share of budding Pokemon trainers. As we attempt to leave Azalea Town, we're ambushed by our rival who demands a Pokemon battle after hearing we're the ones who dispatched Team Rocket. Our rival leads with Ghastly, and we send out Toothers. Not so worried as Ghastly can't really engage with Toothers, we knock it out with a single bite attack. Seeing Croconaw enter the battle, we will recall Toothers and send out Sprout, who quickly lands a Sleep Powder. With Croconaw fast asleep, Sprout manages to easily knock out Croconaw with Vine Whips. Sending out his last Pokemon, Zubat, we recall Sprout and send in Torch, who manages to easily defeat his opponent with Ember. Our rival is dumbfounded we managed to overcome him so easily, then tells us how he despises Team Rocket and how he should have been the one to defeat them, then storms off into Ilex Forest. In Ilex Forest, we encounter a new friend Paris, who we name Shrooms, before helping to catch two Farfetch'd who've escaped their owner. We then run into the strange woman from Violet City, who appears to be lost. Not taking our word for it, Toothers shows her the correct path out of the forest. We find our way out of the forest onto Route 34, where we encounter a Drowsy and name him Snooze, then proceed to defeat all the trainers on our way to Goldenrod City, where we plan to challenge Whitney for the Plain Badge. We get word in Goldenrod that the strange woman we've been seeing spends time at a dance studio in Ecruteak City, just north of Goldenrod City, so we head off to investigate. Along the way, we battle all the trainers and get our next encounter on Route 35, a female Nidoran we name Queen. We then enter the national park and catch a Sunkern we name Sunny. Soon after, we nearly lose Sprout to a super effective Boomerang I wasn't expecting, further showing my current overconfidence. A little further towards Ecruteak City, we find out that the way is blocked by an odd tree. A helpful woman tells us that the odd tree just might be a Pokemon, and sprinkling it with water might force it out of the ground so we can get past. With this information, we head back to the florist in town, who refuses to let us borrow a watering can until we have 3 gym badges to leave as collateral, so she knows we'll bring it back. To get our 3rd gym badge, we need to defeat Whitney, a gym leader feared by all new Pokemon trainers. We hear she's at the local radio station attempting to win a prize, so we head over and flex our Pokemon knowledge right next to Whitney, who requests we come battle her at the Goldenrod Gym. On our way, we get a call from our friend Joey, who lets us know he saw a Pidgey earlier. Keep it up, Joey. You'll get there eventually, buddy. This is a gym I have been dreading. Whitney has a habit of demolishing even the most prepared trainers with her Miltank, and with the team of Pokemon we have, I've struggled to devise a solid plan. In the end, I figure our best option is to lower Miltank's accuracy with a combination of Torch and Wings, then send out Sprout to hopefully land a Sleep Powder, and switch in Smokey to put a curse on Miltank. Complicated I know, but it's the best I can come up with. Sprout lands a Sleep Powder, then gets her low with Vine Whip. We then switch to Torch to get the knockout with Ember, so we can immediately begin dropping Miltank's accuracy with Smokescreen. Miltank enters the battle, outspeeds, and uses Stomp on Torch, getting the flinch. Oh no. Miltank then connects with another Stomp. Luckily Torch doesn't flinch and gets off a Smokescreen. With Torch already low and within knockout range of a critical hit, we accelerate the plan and send out Sprout to attempt a Sleep Powder. The opposing Miltank attempts to use Attract on Sprout, but luckily it fails and gives us a free switch in. Miltank then misses its Stomp and Sprout lands a Sleep Powder. Perfect. But its Lumberry Q is the condition. I forgot about the Lumberry. This is where the overconfidence from the last 2 gyms gets us. We stay in with Sprout, who gets hit by a Stomp to below half, but manages to land the Sleep Powder. We then switch to Wings and lower Miltank's accuracy further with Sand Attack. Miltank then gets the Attract off, but Wings breaks through to use more Sand Attacks before Miltank lands a Stomp, and it's a critical hit, bringing Wings below half. We attempt to switch in Smokey for the curse, but Miltank lands the Stomp, despite all the Smokescreens and Sand Attacks, forcing us to immediately swap out into Smiles, who is hit with another Stomp. Another critical. This Miltank is ridiculous. Our plan is in tatters. I forge a new one on the spot. If Toothers can land 2 Tail Whips, then 2 Hyper Fangs, I think we can still win this. Toothers comes in, and Miltank luckily misses the Stomp. Miltank then attempts an Attract, but again, misses, and Toothers gets the first Tail Whip off. Miltank then uses Stomp, gets the hit, and the flinch. This is too much. With all our Pokemon on low health, Toothers has to go for it. Another miss from Miltank means we can land another Tail Whip, but alas, the next Stomp from Miltank kills our poor Toothers. Toothers, you were the best of us. This could spell the end of our run. Our entire team is on low health against a Miltank that just won't let up. In a feat of desperation, we send out Wings to land another couple of Sand Attacks, lowering Miltank's accuracy as far as we can. Miltank then lands another Stomp, bringing Wings to just 4 hit points. This is looking bad. We send out Sprout in an attempt to put Miltank back to sleep. Sprout manages to avoid the Stomp and lands the Sleep Powder. With Miltank asleep, we swap in Torch, and I forget about the earlier Smokescreens and waste a turn. We then begin our only hope, Charcoal boosted Embers to whittle down the Miltank, which wakes up after only 1 Ember. There is no way we're going to get away with this. Miltank then uses Attract and misses. We land our 2nd Ember. Miltank uses Stomp and misses. We land our 3rd Ember. Miltank uses Attract and misses. We land our 4th Ember. We finally get it to the red. Whitney then uses a Super Potion, bringing us back to square one. We land our 5th Ember. Miltank uses Stomp and misses. We land our 6th Ember. What's even happening in this battle? Miltank uses Stomp and misses. We land our 7th Ember, getting Miltank very low on health. Whitney then uses another super potion, bringing us back to the start again. We attempt a quick attack to test the defense drops from the sacrifice made by Toothers. Bad choice. Miltank uses Attract and misses. We land our 8th Ember. Is Miltank out of Stomp PP at this point? Miltank uses Attract and misses. We land our 9th Ember and it's a critical, bringing Miltank to the red. Whitney doesn't use a super potion, but Miltank does finally connect with the Attract. This is bad. Torch manages to break through the Attract and uses Ember, finally knocking out the Miltank. This is the most ridiculous battle I've ever seen. And with that, we defeated Whitney and earned the Plane Badge. We return to the Pokemon Center and lay our dear friend Toothers to rest. My overconfidence has cost us here, and I plan on not repeating the same mistake. This is not a good time, Todd. Continuing on to ensure Toothers' sacrifice means something, we head back to the florist who saw our insane battle with Whitney and decides to give us a watering can, so we head towards Ecruteak City. We sprinkle some water on the odd tree, and it shoots out of the ground and engages us in battle. Luckily, a combination of Sprout and Smiley managed to score the knockout. A spectator to the battle rewards our heroics with some portable planting pots. Our bag just got a lot heavier. On Route 37, we encounter a Hoot and name him Hootless, before defeating the remaining trainers on our way to Ecruteak City. Once we arrive at Ecruteak City, we immediately head towards the dance theater to try and find the strange woman we encountered in the forest. Upon arriving, we see a Team Rocket member showing off his incredible dance skills. We take care of the riffraff and approach the strange woman, only to find out that she was not the woman we encountered in the forest, even though she looks exactly the same. She doesn't offer us any details about the strange woman, but an onlooker rewards our heroics with a Surf TM, perfect for Smiley. With the dance studio turning up no answers, we head to Route 38 for our next encounter. We run into Eradicate, but thanks to our species clause, we find a Tauros we name Horns. Tooth is even looking out for us beyond the grave. We run into a few more trainers, and Sprout evolves into a Weeping Bell, and Smiley evolves into a Quagsire, adding some extra strength to our team. We then defeat all the trainers on the way to Olivine City and get our next encounter in the grass on Route 39. A Magnemite would be fantastic to help our type coverage, but we run into a Meowth we name Cash. We then enter Olivine City, and our rival leaves the gym talking mad smack, so we head straight to the Burn Tower to teach him a thing or two. Here we run into a Coughing we name Sludge, and encounter Uzine, a trainer hunting for the legendary Suicune. Our rival then challenges us to a battle, where Horn shows his true potential. A single pursuit takes out Ghastly, then we swap into Smiley to deal with Magnemite. Not realizing that Magnemite doesn't have Levitate, I foolishly take it out with 2 water guns, rather than 1 Mudshot. Our rival then sends out Croconaw, who has Ice Fang, a significant threat to our team. We respond by sending in Horns, who manages to get the knockout with a couple of strength and horn attacks. Our rival then sends out Zubat, which Horns knocks out with a single strength, winning us the battle. We then head downstairs to watch the wonderful dance of the Suicune, before Uzine tells us that the display from Suicune must mean we're a pretty special trainer. We then head to Mount Mortar, where we encounter and catch a Machop we name Chopper, which means there's only one thing left on our list for Ecruteak City, challenging the gym leader Morty. Morty has a particularly annoying team, even though they're known for knocking themselves out. We don't really have any specific answers apart from Pursuit on Horns, but I then remember Wings is part normal type, which will be unaffected by most of Morty's Pokemon. The only real issue we're going to encounter is his Gengar, but if we can lower its accuracy, swap in Pidgeotto and bait out his Sucker Punch power points, there isn't much he can do. We start the battle and Ghastly inflicts a curse, bringing itself into the red. We swap in Torch, removing the curse from Wings. We're gonna need him for Gengar. Morty then heals Ghastly to full health with a Hyper Potion, but a single Flame Wheel gets us the knockout. In comes the real threat, Gengar. Torch goes for the smokescreen, attempting to drop Gengar's accuracy to help us deal with Hypnosis, but Gengar lands the Shadow Ball that does more than half damage and we're forced to switch into Wings. Luckily, Gengar goes for another Shadow Ball, which doesn't affect Wings. We then get to work dropping Gengar's accuracy with Sand Attack and trying to bait out those Sucker Punch power points. After a ton of Sand Attacks, we risk the Gust, and Gengar hits us with a Sucker Punch. We're playing too greedy. Gengar hits us with a Hypnosis and puts Wings to sleep, despite the Sand Attacks. We then spend the next few turns using Sand Attack to bait out those Sucker Punches, and with all the power points used, Wings managed to score the knockout on Gengar with a number of Gusts. Morty then sends out one of his Haunters, and we attempt to lower its accuracy with Sand Attack, but Wings is put to sleep again. Knowing the Haunter has Dream Eater, we switch into Horns, who avoids the damage and gets the free switch in. Horns then outspeeds and gets the knockout with a single payback. Morty's second Haunter is then brought in, and a single payback from Horns brings it to below half. It then inflicts a curse on Horns, knocking itself out in the process. That was tough, but our strategy paid off. Hopefully that's the end of our overconfidence. After receiving the Fog Badge from Morty, we head back to Olivine City to challenge Jasmine, the Steel-type gym leader. After entering the gym, we're informed Jasmine is at the lighthouse caring for a sick Pokemon. Wanting to help as best we can, we battle our way up to the lighthouse to assist Jasmine. Jasmine tells us that the Ampharos that usually maintains the lighthouse is unwell, requiring medicine from Cyanwood City. With that knowledge, we head off to collect the medicine and listen to the absolute banger that is the lighthouse theme. Healed up and ready to go, we set out, finding our next encounter on Route 40, a tentacle we catch and name Bluey, after the deadly blue bottle jellyfish. We then defeat all the trainers on the way to Cyanwood and collect the medicine for Ampharos. We then head north and find Suicune again, who proceeds to show us his latest dance move, before Usain turns up and challenges us to a battle. With a combination of Smiley and Horns, the battle is easily won. We then head back to Cyanwood City and find a poor trainer who has literally had his Pokemon stolen. If you're wondering how your rival gets a Sneasel, now you know. After grinding up the team to level 30, as the next few gym leaders will set the level cap at 35, and I'm worried about overleveling as we still have to deal with Team Rocket, we head into the Cyanwood gym to challenge the fighting type leader, Chuck. With no real answers to this gym, since Wings is part normal type and still doesn't have any amazing flying moves, we decide to risk it and lead with Horns, who recently learned Zen Headbutt. As long as Horns connects the first Zen Headbutt on Primeape, which has a tendency to set up evasions then go for Focus Punch, we should be okay. From there, we easily outspeed Poliwrath and constantly use Zen Headbutts to deny the Focus Punch. Sounds good in theory. We start the battle and outspeed to land the first Zen Headbutt, knocking Primeape below half. As I feared, Primeape sets up with evasion, then goes for Focus Punch on the next turn, which will one-hit Horns if we miss. Horns manages to hit the second Zen Headbutt, a huge relief, then we're on to Poliwrath. Poliwrath doesn't really have any moves that can damage the bulkiness of Horns. We hit a Zen Headbutt, bringing Poliwrath to just above half. He responds with a Body Slam, doing just under a quarter and luckily not paralyzing. We then connect with the Zen Headbutt and it's a critical hit, scoring the knockout, finally some luck being repaid after the Whitney battle. We then head back to the lighthouse, delivering the medicine to Jasmine, who requests we challenge her at the gym. We lead with Torch, as I'm worried Magnemite will outspeed and damage Smiley with Sonic Boom, health I want to save for Steelix. A single Flame Wheel from Torch isn't enough, and Magnemite paralyzes Torch. Torch then breaks through the paralyzation and scores the knockout with Flame Wheel. Next up, Jasmine sends in her bulky level 35 Steelix. We leave Torch in, who should be able to tank a rock throw, and then hit a smokescreen to lower accuracy. We then switch into Smiley, who easily tanks the rock throw. Smiley then uses Surf, bringing Steelix to under half, and its Citrus Berry activates, but it's still in knockout range. Steelix then lands the Iron Tail, barely scratching Smiley, and another Surf is all it takes for the knockout. The last Magnemite is then sent in. We outspeed somehow and knock it out with a single Mud Shot. Smiley really could have taken this entire gym by himself. Now that we have the Mineral Badge, we're off to Mahogany Town to challenge Price for the Glacier Badge. We encounter a Goldeen on Route 42 we name Goldie, and battle our way past all the trainers before arriving at the Mahogany Town gym. Here, the townsfolk are talking about a disturbance at the Lake of Rage, and someone blocking the gym entrance benches a man in a cape. That can't be good. We head off towards the Lake of Rage, and on Route 43, encounter a Mareep we name Meepers. She's a perfect addition to the team. Sorry, Smokey. We then get literally robbed by Team Rocket and proceed to the Lake of Rage, battling all the trainers in our path. Once we arrive, we set out to challenge the Red Gyarados, potentially having a new level 30 to add to our team. But then we run into a Magikarp we name Glub. I'm sure Gyarados wouldn't have been that helpful anyway. We then run away from the Gyarados and don't encounter a Magikarp on the way back to land, of course. We then see the man with the cape with the freaking Dragonite standing next to him. Who is this guy? He introduces himself as Lance and requests our help investigating the strange goings-ons in Mahogany Town, affecting the Pokemon at the Lake of Rage. We agree and doubt our decision pretty quickly as we literally watch Lance Hyper Beam a man. Lance then reveals a secret Team Rocket base under the house. Before this, I picked up the XP share for Meepers, so we challenge all the Rocket Grunts on our way to the locked room. We are then interrupted by our rival, who reveals Lance absolutely dominated his team, then gives us a swift smack, then heads out. Thanks for the update, I guess. We then have our first encounter with Petrel. We don't really have to worry about this fight too badly, as our team is at a quite high level, and Smiley's damp ability means we don't need to worry about any exploding coughings. After beating Petrel, he reveals there is no way we can stop the signal, as the door will only open to his voice command, and then he disappears. Luckily, the Murkrow seems to have mimicked his password, and after herding it towards the locked door, managed to open it. We're then interrupted by Ariana and a Team Rocket member, who attempts to engage us in a 2 vs 1 battle, but then Lance shows up to the rescue, evening the odds. With his level 40 Dragonite, the battle passes swiftly, and we defeat the Electrodes in the next room. disabling the signal causing the issue at the Lake of Rage. With Team Rocket defeated, it's time to challenge Price, the Ice-type gym leader. With all the recent battles, we've managed to evolve Meeper into an Ampharos, which will help significantly in this battle. The main issue we're going to be dealing with is Price's Pillow-Swine. Though we have Torch who can land the super effective hits, Pillow-Swine can also hit us back hard with Mud Bomb. We decide our best option is to swap in Smiley and put Pillow-Swine to sleep using Yawn, giving us a safe opportunity to switch in Torch for the knockout. Price leads the battle with his Seal, who we manage to knock out with a single discharge from Meepers. Price then sends out his Pillow-Swine, the real issue in this fight. We switch into Smiley to tank the Mud Bomb, but Pillow-Swine only uses Hail. We can live with that. Expecting the Blizzard, we leave in Smiley to tank the hit. On the next turn, we swap in Torch, who tanks a second Blizzard well, and Pillow-Swine falls asleep. Torch then lands the Flame Wheel, which does just below half damage. Now we cross our fingers that Pillow-Swine stays asleep. The next Flame Wheel brings Pillow-Swine to the red, but its Citrus Berry activates, bringing it out of range for Price to use a Hyper Potion. Perfect. A final Flame Wheel then knocks out Price's ace, Pillow-Swine. Next, Price sends out his Dugong, which can't really super effective hit Torch with its moveset, but we swap into Meepers not wanting to risk it. Meepers tanks the Aurora Beam on the switch in, then lands a discharge taking Dugong into the red, and getting paralysis, before Dugong responds with another Aurora Beam. Price then uses a Hyper Potion, but another discharge brings Dugong back to the red. But Price uses a full restore, bringing us back to square one. At this point though, the healing doesn't matter, and Meepers continues to use discharge until we get the knockout, winning us the Glacier Badge. That went pretty well. After we leave the gym in Mahogany Town, we get another frantic phone call from Professor Elm, who tells us there is something weird going on with the radio tower in Goldenrod City, implying we should probably do something about it, because I'm the law enforcement in this region apparently. Upon talking to the Team Rocket member guarding the florist, he mistakes us for a new recruit. We head to the underground and get our Team Rocket outfit, then attempt to sneak into the radio tower. Everything going perfectly, our rival then shows up and ruins everything by revealing our true identity, forcing a battle with the Rocket Grunt guarding the stairs. Our rival then tells us he's going to handle the situation, then promptly leaves the situation. We battle our way to the top of the tower, to where we find the radio director, only for it to be revealed Petrel is impersonating the director. We send out Smiley to utilize his damp ability, stopping any of the coughings or wheezings exploding on us. A couple of surfs later, and we've managed to deal with Petrel for the second time. He then reveals to us the real radio director is being held hostage below the city, then gives us a key to incite a little chaos. We head below the city to rescue the radio director, but our rival has decided the best way he can help the situation is waiting for us to open the locked door, then challenging us to a battle. Horns easily manages to get the knockout on both our rivals Golbat and Feraligatr. We then switch out to Smiley, who uses Earthquake to deal with Magnemite, and we switch into Horns to defeat Haunter. Our rival then sends out his stolen Sneasel, and we pivot into Torch, who has recently evolved into a Typhlosion, easily getting the knockout with Lava Plume. We then defeat all the Rocket Grunts in the underground, and rescue the radio director who gives us the key to the upper level of the radio tower. On our way back to the top, we encounter Proton again, and easily manage to defeat his team with a combination of Horns and Smiley. We proceed to the elevator, and then are ambushed by Ariana from the Team Rocket base in Mahogany Town. With no Lance to help us this time, we still easily dispatch her team with a combination of Meepers and Torch. We then make our way to the top of the radio tower and challenge the Team Rocket leader, Archer. Horns just misses the knockout on Houndour with Strength, which then retaliates with Fire Fang, and gets the burn. With Horns burned, we switch out into Smiley, and Houndour's Fire Fang misses. A Surf from Smiley then knocks out the Houndour, but then Archer sends in his Houndoom. Houndoom hits Smiley with a bite, bringing him to just above half, and he flinches. We leave Smiley in, who gets hit low by Houndoom's feint attack, but then an Earthquake from Smiley knocks out Archer's Houndoom with a single hit. Archer then sends out his last Pokemon, Coughing. We switch out Smiley into Torch, and knock out Coughing with a Lava Plume, defeating Team Rocket, forcing them to scatter from the Johto region. With Team Rocket defeated, we begin the trek towards Blackthorn City, to challenge Claire for our 8th and final gym badge. Now that we're past the midpoint in the video, it would be fantastic if you consider leaving a like if you're enjoying the content. It's always appreciated, and it means I don't have to make a sacrifice to the YouTube algorithm gods. We enter the Ice Path, and encounter one of our last Pokemon before the Pokemon League, a Jinx. We give her the name Chills, and I decide she could do a great job rounding out our party. Little did I know Jinx learns no special ice moves before level 55, and doesn't even learn a psychic attacking move. To top this off, the Psychic and Ice Beam TMs aren't available until you defeat the Pokemon League. Looks like we're off to the game corner, and Voltorb flipping our way to an Ice Beam TM. We then encountered the Strange Woman again, and slide her to freedom. We find a Teddiursa on Route 45, grind the team up to level 41, the same as Claire's ace Pokemon Kingdra, and do a general power up with a few TMs and held items. We've done everything we can to prepare for Claire. This fight should be relatively simple. We have all the counters, but switching to our appropriate Pokemon safely will be the issue, and the Shed Skin ability on both the Dragonairs will make it difficult. We lead with Sprout, who tanks the first bite from Gyarados, then puts him to sleep with Sleep Powder. We then switch into Meepers, who knocks out Gyarados with a 4x super effective discharge. In comes the first Dragonair, Meepers lands the Thunder Wave, and Dragonair responds with its own Thunder Wave. In retrospect, teaching and setting up a Light Screen with Meepers while Gyarados was still asleep would have been the way to play this situation. With Dragonair paralyzed, we switch in Chills, and the Dragonair is unable to move due to the paralysis. Lucky. Chills then outspeeds to knock out both Dragonairs with a single Ice Beam each. In comes Kingdra, a main threat for this gym battle. We use Chills to set up a Light Screen, minimizing any damage about to come in from Kingdra, but it only goes for Smoke Screen. We then swap into Sprout, who tanks a Hydro Pump thanks to the Light Screen. We have one attempt to try and land the Sleep Powder before Sprout is brought into knockout range. Dragon Pulse hits hard, leaving Sprout on just 21 hit points, and we miss the Sleep Powder. With the Light Screen about to go down, and Sprout sure to die if we leave her in, we swap back into Chills, and Kingdra misses the Hydro Pump. Wanting to leave Chills out to put the Light Screen back up, we go for an Ice Beam, and Chills outspeeds and gets the critical hit, knocking out the Kingdra with a single attack. Claire, salty about us winning the match with a critical hit, refuses to give us the Rising Badge, so we go tell her dad on her, and he forces her to give us the Rising Badge. With our 8th and final gym badge, we return to Goldenrod City, and leave a tribute to Toothers, whose sacrifice got us to where we are now. We then receive an odd summons to the dance studio in Ecruteak City, where we encounter a group of kimono girls and the strange woman. After defeating them all in battle, they lure us to a secret underground cave and tell us a blood sacrifice must be made to put the beast Lugia back to sleep for another 100 years, so we get the hell out of there. We begin our journey to the Pokemon League, battling all the trainers along the way to ensure we're ready. We quickly get through Victory Road and are challenged to a final battle by our rival. This fight goes by quickly as we've already started grinding up for the Pokemon League. He leads with Sneasel, which Horns manages to defeat with a single strength. He then sends out Feraligatr, so we switch into Meepers, who is then hit by the waterfall to just above half. We outspeed and get Feraligatr to the red with a discharge, and get the paralysis, but it knocks us into the red with another waterfall. We then land the final discharge, knocking it out. Golbat enters the battle, and with Meepers low, we switch into Horns. Horns attacks with strength, but Golbat uses Confused Ray. Horns hurts itself in confusion, and Golbat scores a critical hit with Air Cutter. With Horns in knockout range and confused, we switch into Smiley, easily tanking the Air Cutter, and then knocks out Golbat with a waterfall. Our rival then sends out Haunter, which immediately uses Mean Look, locking an injured Smiley into the battle. We use Yawn in an attempt to put the Haunter to sleep. Haunter then uses Confused Ray. This could be really bad. Smiley then breaks through the confusion to bring Haunter to the red with Waterfall. With Smiley trapped in battle, we go for the knockout, and Smiley snaps out of his confusion and finishes Haunter with a Waterfall. Kadabra and Magneton are then taken out by a single Earthquake each from Smiley. With the battle passed, our only remaining task is to defeat the Pokemon League. The Pokemon League and champion in SoulSilver range from Pokemon at level 40 all the way to 50, so we grind the team up to level 48, allowing room for experience gain, use a few more TMs, and then head into the Pokemon League. Will should be a relatively easy battle with Meepers and Jinx. We lead with Meepers and use Light Screen to block a good portion of incoming damage. Xatu then uses Confuse Ray. Damn, I was really hoping for Psychic. Meepers breaks through confusion and knocks out Xatu with a single discharge. Will then sends out Executor, which we are more than prepared for with Signal Beam. Out comes Jinx, and we predict the Ice Punch due to Light Screen. We switch into Torch and easily absorb the hit. Torch then outspeeds and fires back with Flamethrower, knocking out Jinx. Out next is Slowbro, and with Light Screen still up, we swap back into Meepers, but Slowbro only goes for Curse. We take this opportunity to get the Light Screen back up, and Slowbro only goes for Curse again. We then take out Slowbro with a single discharge from Meepers, and Will's remaining Xatu is brought into battle, which is also taken out with a single discharge. This battle went really well, but it's also going to be by far the easiest of the Pokemon League. With Will defeated, we head on to Koga. Koga leads with his Ariados, which is outsped and knocked out with a single Flamethrower from Torch. Koga then switches in his Fortress, and Torch knocks it out with a 4x effective Flamethrower. Interesting choice. In comes Muck, and I decide with the run Torch is having to stay in and use another Flamethrower, bringing Muck to well below half. It then retaliates with a Gunk Shot, which poisons Torch. Knowing we'll outspeed, and that Muck loves to minimize with every opportunity, we leave Torch in and finish Muck with another Flamethrower. Crobat is then brought into the fight, and with Torch low on health and poisoned, we know we need to switch out. We send out Meepers, expecting the wing attack. Crobat then goes for Double Team, which could be really bad. Meepers does manage to land the discharge however, getting the knockout in a single hit. Koga then only has his Venomoth left, and Meepers is fully healed with the Shell Bell. We land a discharge, bringing Venomoth to under half, but it uses Supersonic, confusing Meepers. With Meepers on full health, we risk the confusion and use Discharge, but Meepers hurts itself in confusion. Then Venomoth hits with a pretty soft Psychic. With Meepers still above half, we attempt another Discharge and land the hit, winning the battle against Koga. Next up is Bruno, who we should be able to beat relatively easily with our team. We send out Chills against Hitmontop and set up a Reflect, and Hitmontop goes for counter. Chills then connects with an Ice Beam, bringing Hitmontop below half, but it digs its way underground. Not wanting Chills to take the hit, we switch into Smiley, and the dig lands a critical. Predicting the dig, Smiley uses Earthquake to knock out Hitmontop. Next up, Bruno sends out Hitmonlee, who hits us with a brutal high jump kick to just below half. We then respond with an Earthquake, bringing Hitmonlee into the tiniest shred of health. Bruno uses a full restore, but our Earthquake gets the high roll and knocks out Hitmonlee. With no real answers to the strength that is Machamp, we leave in Smiley, who absorbs a brutal cross chop, surviving on only 9 hit points before he uses Yawn. We then switch out into Sprout, looking to absorb the next hit before Machamp falls asleep. Sprout takes the Rock Slide well, then we switch into Chills, and Machamp falls asleep. With Machamp asleep, we take the time to get a Reflect up, then bring Machamp below half with Ice Beam, but it recovers using a Citrus Berry. Knowing we need 2 more hits, we use Ice Beam, which scores a critical hit, knocking out Machamp. Out comes Onix, which is an easy takedown with another super effective Ice Beam. Bruno's last Pokemon, Hitmonchan, enters the battle. Getting low on Ice Beam, we hit it with a Shadow Ball, bringing Hitmonchan below half, but it responds with a super effective Fire Punch. Thanks to the Reflect, Chills survives the hit with more than half health, and a final Shadow Ball gets us the victory against Bruno. Up next is Karen, the Elite Four member I have no real plan or answers for. Knowing she leads with Umbreon, who loves to set up double teams and use Confuse Ray, we lead with Meepers to try and take it out as quickly as possible with Signal Beam. Umbreon responds with Payback, bringing Meepers to just above half. We land the second Signal Beam, bringing Umbreon to within knockout range, then Karen uses a full restore, and we start the process over. Eventually, Meepers manages to get the knockout with Signal Beam. Karen then sends in her Murkrow, and Meepers hurts itself in confusion. Murkrow just uses Whirlwind, bringing in Chills, who gets the knockout with an Ice Beam. Next in is Houndoom, so we swap into Smiley, who tanks the Crunch and the Dark Pulse to score the knockout with a single Earthquake. In comes Vileplume, so we swap into Torch hoping for the Petal Dance. Sadly, Vileplume uses Stun Spore, paralyzing Torch on the switch in. After tanking a Petal Dance, a single Flamethrower manages to deal with Vileplume. In comes Karen's last Pokemon, Gengar. With nothing really to switch into, we leave in Torch and go for the Flamethrower. Gengar uses Focus Blast, which hits to well below half, and gets the special defense drop. We have to swap out. Knowing Karen will use a full restore, we take the opportunity to send out Meepers, who gets hit to below half by Focus Blast, but manages to get a Light Screen up. We then send out Chills, and with the Light Screen, takes next to no damage from the Focus Blast. Chills then outspeeds and hits with the super effective Shadow Ball, bringing Gengar to below half. Gengar responds with a Lick, which does less than half and doesn't get the paralysis. After another Shadow Ball from Chills, we've defeated Karen. On to the champion Lance. Lance is going to be a tough battle. We have Chills with the super effective Ice Beam, but Gyarados as the lead Pokemon means we won't have a lot of options. Right now, I'm wishing I brought a Reflect TM for Meepers to set up on Gyarados. With a plan to just do our best with what we have, Lance sends out his Gyarados and we send out Meepers. We somehow outspeed, and Meepers takes the Gyarados out with a single Discharge, but out comes the level 50 Dragonite. Meepers outspeeds again and gets the Thunder Wave off, paralyzing Dragonite. Dragonite manages to break through the paralysis however, and hits for huge damage with Outrage, bringing Meepers way below half. With Outrage going on, we send out Horns to tank the next hit, hopefully ending the chain to confuse Dragonite. It hits Horns to 40 health and doesn't confuse. We need another Pokemon to tank the hit. Figuring she won't get much of a chance to shine during this battle, we send out Sprout to tank the hit. But Outrage kills Sprout in a single hit. Rest peacefully, friend. With the chain finished, Dragonite is now confused and paralyzed. This is the best chance we're going to get. We send out Chills and accidentally use Light Screen instead of Reflect. That hurts. We cross our fingers and hope for the best. Dragonite hurts itself in confusion, and we take it out on the next turn with an Ice Beam. Without Reflect, this is going to be difficult. In comes Aerodactyl. Expecting it to outspeed and with no Reflect, we switch into Smiley, and Aerodactyl lands a Rock Slide, a critical hit. Aerodactyl hits Smiley with an Aerial Ace, and Smiley uses Yawn, as we're not expecting Waterfall to bring Aerodactyl to low health. Aerodactyl hits us with another Aerial Ace to just 58 hit points, and Waterfall brings Aerodactyl to the red, and it falls asleep. But Lance uses a full restore, bringing Aerodactyl to full health and waking it up. We should have just gone straight for Waterfall. Another Waterfall brings Aerodactyl back to the red. Smiley tanks the next Aerial Ace, and manages to score the knockout with another Waterfall. In comes level 49 Dragonite. We have nothing to swap into. We have to hope for the miss with Dragon Rush. We leave Smiley in and attempt to Yawn. Dragonite uses Dragon Rush, but it makes contact and kills Smiley. That's 2 of our friends gone this battle. We use the opportunity for the free switch-in to send out Chills, who outspeeds and gets revenge on Dragonite with a single Ice Beam. In comes Charizard, which could easily defeat Chills, so we switch out into Torch, who tanks the Fire Fang and begins using Smokescreen. The Air Cutter brings Torch below half, but all we can do is keep using Smokescreen and hope for the misses. After a few Smokescreens and many misses from Charizard, Air Cutter connects, bringing Torch to just 6 hit points. With nothing to swap into, we attack with Flamethrower, doing a third to Charizard, then Charizard connects with a Fire Fang, killing Torch. In our despair, we send out Chills and hope for a series of misses from Charizard. Chills outspeeds and gets a critical hit with Shadow Ball, leaving Charizard on only a slither of health. Lance then uses another full restore, and Charizard then misses all its attacks, and we manage to take it out with a combination of Ice Beam and Shadow Ball. Lance then sends out his level 49 Dragonite, Chills outspeeds, and knocks it out with a single Ice Beam. With that victory, we've completed our first ever Hardcore Nuzlocke. We lost a lot of friends throughout the run, but their sacrifice is ultimately what got us to where we are now. Reflecting, there is a lot I could have done differently, but in the end, it's all hindsight for another run. If you've made it this far in the video, I'd like to thank you for spending your free time with me here. If you enjoyed the content you've seen, I would appreciate it if you'd consider leaving a like to help a new creator with the YouTube algorithms. It may not seem like it, but your support through a like makes a big difference. I am the TRC, and I hope you've enjoyed our journey through Pokémon SoulSilver.